What's your name, dude?
Eastwood. Clint Eastwood. Hey guys, Hal here coming at you with another movie review. Thank you for clicking on this video and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be wrapping up one of the most iconic trilogies of all time and a personal favourite of mine. We're going to saddle up and talk about Back to the Future Part 3. So let's get to it. Released in 1990, Back to the Future Part 3 was filmed back-to-back with Part 2 and directed once again by Robert Zemeckis. Picking up right where Part 2 left off, Doc Brown is stuck in 1885 and it's up to Marty to go back to the Old West to save him, and time itself. Part 3 ditches the futuristic tech and the dystopian timelines for something totally different, the Wild West. Hill Valley in 1885 is dusty, dangerous and filled with familiar faces, but just dressed in period costumes. This bold genre shift actually works better than you'd expect it to. It gives it a fresh new look, whilst also keeping that same charm from all the previous Back to the Future films. This one is quite different to the other films because Doc Brown actually takes centre stage and Christopher Lloyd really gets to shine and show a totally different loving, caring side to his, eccentric scientist character. His relationship with Clara Clayton adds so much emotional weight to his character. And to be honest, it's just really nice just to see him fall in love. Meanwhile, Marty continues his journey of maturity, whilst learning the dangers of pride and being able to walk away from being called a chicken and a fight. Michael J. Fox now wears this character like a second skin, and he's so comfortable in the role and in this setting that he actually gets to play his great-great-grandfather, Seamus McFly. As a kid watching this, I actually didn't even know it was him playing it, which is mental to see now because it's so obvious that it's him. And of course, what's a Back to the Future film without a Tannen? And this time it's Buford Mad Dog Tannen. And Thomas F. Wilson plays this role with hilarious menace. He brings that nasty, dumb outlaw that you love to hate. There's a part towards the very end of the film where Buford Mad Dog Tannen's in like a standoff against Marty McFly, and he draws his gun, shoots Marty McFly, and he falls to the floor. And it's really funny. There's a part as he's approaching Marty McFly to see if he's dead or not. He's walking, he's got his gun in his hand, and he's just going. He's just laughing really cocky, and it's just so funny to see him do that. He really is quite funny in this role. And you've got the classic, "Nobody calls me Yeller." I will say that the stakes feel a lot more personal in this one, not so much like looking to save the world, but more so looking to save each other. As I said in my previous Back to the Future reviews, I watched Back to the Future 2 and Back to the Future Part 3 on the same VHS tape, and I'd watched them over and over again. And this was the one that I would, not consider my favourite one. But actually, as the years have gone on, I've really started to learn to appreciate this. And I really enjoy that Western setting. And I think I pretty much underappreciated how well they adapted these characters into the 1885 setting. All horses and all the taverns and the bathhouses. I really enjoyed that dusty feel, and especially seeing the characters that we have grown to love in the other films in this scenario. The steampunkish tech is super fun in this one. The makeover of the DeLorean with its 1885 style with all the circuits on top of the bonnet at the front. Obviously no tyres on the wheels as well for when it's being pushed by the train. And obviously you've got that train sequence at the very end of the film as well, which is probably one of the best climactic endings in the whole trilogy. And you've also got the Alan Silvestri score, which once again accompanies the third film and really ties up the whole trilogy. And that score really does build, it's a character of its own, in all honesty. And as I say, it really does tie this trilogy together. One of the things I haven't really touched on in this Back to the Future review series is all the little Easter eggs that are running throughout the trilogy, and some of the alterations that are made due to Marty McFly and Doc Brown travelling through time. And one of them is that in 1885, Marty McFly issues the alias Clint Eastwood when he arrives in the Old West. Near the end of the movie, Marty McFly escapes 1885 by using a DeLorean by driving across an uncompleted railroad bridge. And in the eyes of everyone in 1885, pretty much him just plunging to his death. So when Marty McFly finally arrives then back in 1985, if you look closely, you can actually see that it's been changed from Showdowns Ravine to Eastwood Ravine. Due to them honouring the man that they once thought had died in the ravine. And it's funny because it all ties in, because earlier on in the film, you hear Marty McFly telling the story that when he was in school, everyone referred to the ravine as Clayton Ravine because a teacher once went over the ravine years prior. And that was meant to be Clara Clayton, which was, Doc's love interest. So it's brilliant that they managed to tie it all in. And because Doc and Marty McFly stops Clara from going over that ravine in 1885, it's just another way that they tell the story of, if you alter something in the past, it will then have a ripple effect and be changed in the present. It's a clever callback really to part one, where the Twin Pines Mall gets changed then in 1985 to Lone Pine Mall because Marty McFly runs over the pines in 1955. It's just classic Back to the Future time alteration humour. Back to the Future Part 3 might not be everyone's favourite entry, but it's a satisfying, heartfelt conclusion to one of the best trilogies in film history. It dials down the sci-fi chaos and concentrates on a more heartfelt story, and it totally works. Also, who doesn't love a time-travelling train? I wish we got to see that more, in all honesty. And a character, again, I've not really discussed in much detail in this series, and that character is the time machine itself, the DeLorean. In this film, there's a lot of talk about how they need to destroy this DeLorean because all it's doing is upsetting timelines and causing trouble. But little do you know how much it's going to hurt when that DeLorean is finally destroyed. And when it's hit by that train at the very end of this film, I always nearly shed a tear because it's just so heartbreaking. All the journeys that you've been on with this car and this machine, it really is a massive character in these films. And yeah, it's just something that really hurts my feelings when I see it get hit by that train and you can see the license plate on the floor, and all the parts. It's just really heartfelt. And it's something now that the DeLorean is like a bit of a collectible. I always, look for the Hot Wheels DeLorean toys, or I've got my little remote control DeLorean just here in the shop. It's just a massive character, and I don't think you'll ever beat it as a time traveling device. You can try all you want, but there's no way that you can't tell me that that's not the best time machine ever made. So that's it, guys. That's the end of my Back to the Future review series. What do you think of Back to the Future Part 3? Do you think it's an underrated gem, or do you really consider this the weakest link? You let me know what you think in the comment section below. It's been an absolute blast reviewing these films. As I say, it's my favourite trilogy of all time. So it's been great to be able to dress up in all this get up and, have my DeLorean and have my hoverboard and almanac out, just to celebrate these films. So if you've enjoyed this series and if you've enjoyed this review, then please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious